Do you have your insurance card?
I do.
Grab it for me.
I don't see. I think this is it right here.
Okay, fantastic. Well, what we're going to do is we're actually going to pick up the phone and we're going to call just to make sure that the information that they have here on the card is the same.
Okay.
Because, you know, it's one of those areas to mess things up takes a human, but to really mess it up takes a computer.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pick up the phone, we're gonna call, and I don't have any idea if I said that the right way, but it's gonna be the way it was said.
Okay. I'm okay with it.
All right. Now, when we call these guys, understand that they're gonna ask you to verify some information. So when I call and talk to them, I'm gonna let them know that I'm your friend, and we're trying to get some information about this. They may ask to speak to you and just probably ask you your zip code, your date of birth, those types of things, just to make sure it's okay to talk to me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I always like to have it on speakerphone too, so you can hear what they say. They must be busy today.
They must.
All right, let's try that one more time. Hi, my name is Rich Van Dyke.
Okay.
It-
Hi, Rich. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Is this ABC Insurance?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's important citizen.
All right. I am just sitting here with Miss Joe or with Miss Pat, and what we're doing is we're trying to figure out exactly what this little card she's got is going to do for her.
Okay.
Can you help us with that?
I can help you with that. Let me get a couple pieces of information.
Okay.
Real quick. And we first start with the identification number.
Yeah, it's 412-717-474.
Okay, super.
And like I said, it's Miss Pat.
Okay. Okay. So, Miss. Okay. Miss Carol Pat. Okay. And is Miss Pat around? Is she available?
She's sitting right here next to us.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. And let me get your name again. You are.
My name's Rich.
Okay, perfect. Okay, now, Miss Scott, I need to verify a few things with you. Can you just give me your zip code? Where do you live?
It's 75555.
Okay, perfect. And your date of birth?
January 1st, 1936.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that. And, are you gonna, can we get this information? Is it okay for me to really save your personal information and have a conversation with Mr. Rich?
Yes.
That's okay with you? All right, perfect. You can put Mr. Rich on the phone then.
Thank you.
All right. The question that I've got is she's got this card from you guys, and I'm just trying to figure out exactly what this monster is. Can you tell me what it does or what it is?
Like this, looks to me like she has a Medicare supplement with us, and it is a Plan F.
It's a Plan F Medicare supplement. Okay, I've got a book here. I think I can figure it out from there. So thank you very much. We do appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Okay,
All
thank you very
right.
much.
Okay. Bye bye. All right. So when it comes to this part of the excess charges, anyway, this part of the bill right
Yeah.
there, it's kind of the least of your worries, and I'll kind of tell you why. When we come back to the Medicare book, one of the things Medicare tells every senior to do is ask some questions when it comes to their their insurance companies that they're gonna go ahead and take out, and there's a reason for that.
Okay.
Okay, as we go down this list, there's a couple of questions that I always like to make sure people understand. 'Cause a lot of times they'll read one or two, but they don't always get down to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this one right here is the first one, and that talks about how has the premium for this policy changed in the last 3 years due to inflation or other reasons. And they always tell seniors to ask that question because they're seeing a lot of stuff out there that maybe concerns them just a little bit. Okay? As an example, let me kind of show you what I talk about when I talk about that for a second. Here's a letter that you can see was written by Senator Reed, Baucus, and Kerry. They penned a letter to Secretary Celebes. And Secretary Celebes was the head of the Health and Human Services Department, and they had some questions to her about some of the pricing practices that insurance companies were dealing or doing to seniors out there.
Mm-hmm.
And they had some questions because, quite frankly, there was some things that was concerning even them about how insurance companies were treating people. So let me grab another piece of scratch paper out here because I want to kind of draw this out for you to make it easy to understand. Every insurance company kind of does things very similar when it comes to the way that they deal with how their premium increases work down the road. Okay? As an example, from a period of 1 to 10 years, most insurance companies have an idea on how much they're going to pay out in claims. They got people that work in buildings without windows that are a heck of a lot smarter than you and I are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And they can tell us when we're actually going to get sick. So when I talk about this time period, insurance companies know what they're going to need to bring in order to cover or offset those types of costs. And sometimes some insurance companies do a really good job pricing their policies the right way. And sometimes insurance companies do what I call offer an introductory rate. Kind of like those credit card offers that you get,
Yeah.
0% interest for 6 months,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody in America runs out and gets those because they know exactly what they're going to do in 6 months, right? Well, the insurance companies sometimes have learned that as well. And when they learn that, it's what I call buying business. They go out and they get a lot of policies because a lot of agents will sell that cheaper insurance
Sure.
policy knowing that it's going to have to be increased down the road. But when it comes time to increase it, a lot of times they can't just increase it to where their line, where their value should have been. They have to push it a whole lot higher than that. And when they do that, seniors start to see a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what causes them to have to push it a little bit higher comes down to the way that insurance companies actually deal with it. And I draw a seesaw here. On one side of the seesaw you have sick folks, on the other side of the seesaw you have healthy people. And every insurance company's job is to ask questions to put seniors into their policy. And the insurance company has a choice whether they insure people that are just healthy, whether they insure some that are healthy with some sick people, or whether they just insure anybody at all regardless of health. Well, if they're not asking any health questions, obviously they're putting some folks over here on the sick side of the seesaw.
Right.
And if you have too many people on this side, kind of throws the seesaw out of balance, right? So what they do is, if an insurance company doesn't ask enough of the right questions, they can have too many sick people, and that's why they would have to push the premiums up a little bit higher in order to help offset that. Now, we have some insurance companies out there that have kind of taken this idea and said, listen, when we get to the point where we have too many people over here, what we're going to do is, instead of allowing our policyholders just to go away without, trying to recapture some of them, what we're going to do is we're going to just open up a whole new insurance company.
Yeah.
We're going to allow the healthy people to switch and go down. Unfortunately, those people that are sick, because they can't necessarily go anywhere, we're going to require they stay back with this other insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of look at it as when everybody on one side of a seesaw gets off. You've been on a seesaw before.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when everybody gets off the other side? It kind of hurts, doesn't it? Well, unfortunately, that's what we start to see for people that get stuck over here. for the insurance company, you might see how that would be an attractive idea on how they conduct business, right?
Sure.
But for these seniors, when they get to this part, you can see how that's a huge issue.
Oh, absolutely.
So you can kind of see why Medicare has people ask that question,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
They want people to understand that this type of things happens, because unfortunately what I see a lot with seniors, I'm going to draw another graph here for you. This time we're going to write down actual numbers. And on this side, that represents the amount of cost that people are paying for their health care. Down here across the
Per
end,
month.
per month,
Okay,
Down here across the bottom, we're going to talk about their ages again.
okay.
When seniors sometimes get into Medicare right at the very beginning, okay, and they're always told by everybody that's ever come and seen them in the past that, you know, maybe I can help save you some money, maybe I can reduce your cost. Can you see how they may fall into a situation where they get something like this that may be priced below the market?
Mm-hmm.
And so what they do is they get into their policy when it's like right there.
Mm-hmm.
And over 2 years, because the insurance company doesn't do a great job of doing their underwriting,
Yeah.
okay, that policy premium goes something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2 years' time frame, what happens is they realize that there's all these people that are leaving. See, what an insurance company kind of knows is if they have a 20% increase, about 20% of their healthy people are going to go from somewhere else. So they lose, and it just kind of compounds the issue a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden they get to a point where they call that local insurance guy back and they say, hey, can you come out here and help me? It's gone up to a point where I want to try and save some money. And once again, that local agent takes them from here and drops them back into this introductory rate.
Oh, uh-huh.
Goes like that.
Yeah.
Drop them down to this company. Once again, healthy seniors versus the sick seniors.
Mm-hmm.
But because the underwriting is not as good, because the way they conduct their business may not be the way that I would conduct my business or somebody else might conduct their, within a few short years, it's done the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We even have insurance companies that have made a decision to open up not just one, not just two, but 7 or 8 different companies that they bounce people from one company to another, to another, to another. And I see seniors play this game a lot where they bounce back and forth from one company to another just because they were getting priced at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the philosophy of an insurance company can be very important, right?
Yes.
Well, unfortunately, sometimes seniors that play this game, they get stuck, they get sick, and they get put to a point where all of a sudden their costs have gone up so high and they get sick, they have a heart attack. I was actually talking to a lady who, she actually called me on the phone and says, hey, can you come help me? I can't get my insurance man that I've used for years to return my call because she'd had a heart attack. So she'd gotten out to this point and her insurance was going through the roof and she had to make a tough choice. Either keep paying whatever the insurance company wants or drop it altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, it's kind of a problem.
Yep.
And I think if most seniors understood how the philosophy of an insurance company can affect them, if most seniors understood that Medicare is telling you to ask questions to help prevent this type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
maybe they'd be willing to get themselves into something that was maybe priced right to begin with, that underwrote extremely, extremely well to keep more healthy people versus sick people. Maybe they'd understand that there are companies out there that act more a little bit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when you need it the most, when you're out here and you need it the most, like she did,
Mm-hmm.
is something that seniors can hold on to for a whole lot longer. Now, to give you an idea, some examples. I think everybody's heard of this particular organization. Okay, and they actually will tell you that one of the benefits of having one of their Medicare supplement policies is that your client's premiums are locked in from the day they sign their application and won't change in the first 12 months. But this creates the potential for 2 scenarios that will result in your clients receiving multiple increases during their second policy year, not just one, but 2. Now you can get them both at the same time, or what's more likely to happen, your clients will receive 2 rate increases during their second policy year, but never closer than 3 months apart. Well, obviously, that kind of falls back to here, right? Falls back to that question. But when you're a senior and you all of a sudden start seeing things like, well, here's a good example. Same insurance company, right? And you can see how the premiums here went from there to there in one increase.
Wow.
And all of a sudden for folks to have two of those at a time, okay? See why
That's huge,
Medicare's
yeah.
telling you to ask those questions to
Yeah.
find out about.
Yeah.
But it's not just that insurance company. There's others as well out there. Okay, this is somebody that had one, his premium was, and now comes to here.
Oh my goodness.
Obviously, you can see how that's a concern for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when we talk about, you know, one of the least of your concerns, okay, can you see how if that's the type of practice that your insurance company has, can you see how one of my first concerns comes into here, right there? The
Yeah.
philosophy of the company is drastically affecting how people do things.
Yeah.
And that, like I said, is why Medicare tells people to ask that question.